Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local.
Over to you, Mike.
And assuming you did decide to dive in, which is what my story was about, which was the real cost of fake reviews. Gentleman who had spent a lot of money on a forklift came into the forum, hat in hand, because he didn't go beyond this review summary. He sent somebody a check for a lot of money, and they never delivered. When you dig into this company, you find a ton of fake reviews. There was 125 reviews, roughly 80 of them were fake, and the real reviews were all very negative. And when you dug further, looked at the Better Business Bureau, even though Yelp liked to claim they should have looked at Yelp, they weren't on Yelp. I hate to tell Yelp that, but they weren't there. But if you looked at the Better Business Bureau, you would find both Better Business Bureau complaints and Better Business reviews, all of which were negative. And so the corpus at Better Business Bureau was totally negative. The corpus at Google gave him a 4.2, and this guy, not doing due diligence, fell for it, and he came into the forum to try to see if he could get the fake reviews cleared up, which then got escalated to Google, and they're struggling with whether they're fake or not, which raises this question for me, which Google is promoting their incredible artificial intelligence. They can translate between 109 different languages. They can, if you drop a picture of poison ivy into Lens, they can tell you it's poison ivy. And yet after 13 years, they've been incapable of developing a machine learning algorithm that can successfully limit the impact of fake reviews, because these reviews were clearly fake. And, I did an analysis with Curtis Boyd's help. Curtis Boyd runs this company to track fake reviews, where it was clear that of at least 50 or 45 of the reviewers had reviewed other businesses in common across the whole world, which the chance of that happening is about zero, right?
Which is a pretty easy thing for Google to track.
Very easy to track. If I can track it and Curtis can track it, Google should be able to track it. So it really raises the question: why has Google not solved this problem? It's not a technical question, I don't think.
It's a version of the user reviews version of they can put a man on the moon, but why can't they make a good cup of coffee? Remember that commercial?
Yeah, but now everybody can make a good cup of coffee.
Well, so Google clearly can do more than it's doing with its technology. I mean, the stuff that Curtis Boyd and his Objection.co, or the transparency company, I think he's rebranding, is doing. Google can do all the same things he's doing: NLP, comparison of IP addresses, looking at review velocity, looking at profiles, comparing them. But they're not. And
what they do whenever they tighten it up, they get a lot of false positives, because we see in the forum a tremendous increase in users complaining they posted a review and it's not showing. So it's not even clear to me why that would be the false positive.
You could, as we discussed sort of before this today, you could do some mix of machine and human moderation and probably minimize that.
Right, but what I'm guessing is that the human moderation is what's caught in Google's throat. There's no motivation for them to do so, and they
well. So what they rely on right now is a crowdsourcing system where individuals are supposed to flag spam reviews, right? I mean, that's their chief enforcement mechanism.
Oh, I think they have some other back-end algorithm, because it periodically, as I started to
well,
develop,
certainly, but I mean, that's one of their main mechanisms, if it's not the main one. And the reality is that most of these fake reviews are generated by the businesses themselves in one form or another, either friends and family, or they're paying some service to do it. And so these business owners themselves are not motivated to take down their own reviews or to flag their own reviews. And I think it's very unlikely that competitors are going to be flagging false positive reviews in most of these cases. So I think that whole system is probably fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, there's something flawed. I mean, to me, it's attention focus. They just don't seem motivated to really fix the problem. Again, it's been 13 years. It just shouldn't be. Yelp does have a lot of false positives, but manages to make that impact light reviewers. Better Business Bureau seems to have a system in place that captures the essence of this company anyways. This company has clearly robbed people of somewhere in the order of about $300,000 or $400,000.
Well, they rely on complaints, I think, for that.
Well, there's two systems. They have reviews and complaints, but the reviews reflected the complaints pretty closely in this case.
But the BBB does a lot of human review of those complaints, is my understanding, which Google, as you said, is never going to do. So
that's true. I just don't think it's rocket science. Clearly, they're not motivated to do it. Clearly, it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for this guy. I sent my son up there the other day to see if this place was real. It had been there, but they've closed up shop. They've moved on. They opened a place down the street with a new corporate name.
It's trust is a big is a big issue online, and you know, it's interesting to me that Google doesn't perceive any threat to its brand from this. At all, seemingly. And it's interesting that Yelp has not gone after them in the way that Apple is going after Facebook, for example, or Android by implication with privacy, right? I mean, Yelp could mount a campaign and say, we are aggressive about cleaning up these reviews. You can trust our reviews. Other platforms are replete with fraud. I don't know why they don't go after.
I don't know why they don't mention Google by name and just compare. In this case, it wouldn't have been possible because the business didn't have a Yelp profile. But there's got to be plenty of major disconnects between what a GMB profile looks like and what a Yelp profile looks like. So I don't know. It seems, yeah, I agree. This is a much, it seems like a much surer tactic to get eyeballs away from Google than hoping that the Senate Antitrust Commission will slap Google on the wrist. So
and force Google to rank Yelp higher, which is that's a weak strategy to start with, right? That's Yelp's whole hope here.
Exactly.
It's a brand strategy. Trust us. You know, we have more integrity.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.